time of year to evaluate your landscape at home. How is it aged? Is it time for a refresh? Take a hard look and ask yourself and your plants some rather difficult questions.
It's difficult to judge plants and say, well, you're too old, or you're too mature, or you're too rangy and leggy, or you're not attractive enough to be in this garden anymore, but that's really what you have to do. So you have to pick and choose the plants that still look great and still are kind of filling whatever design role is necessary for that site. So yeah, cleaning out stuff that's not doing well and then putting in things that are going to complement the mature specimens that are already here.
Sometimes the solution may not involve drastic changes, but rather a little trim here and a new plant there. Or if you have some hardier woody plants like shrubs that are approaching their teen years, it might be time for a rejuvenation pruning where you cut the plant almost all the way to the ground.
Be sure you do your research before you start cutting. But you can cut shrubs to the ground and then they'll regrow often in a much tighter form, and they'll regrow more quickly because they have a large established root system to pull from. And that's a good way to kind of freshen up the landscape without having to spend a lot of money or buy new plants.
As you evaluate your garden changes, know it's okay to experience some growing pains. Our garden is now 13 years young, and we love every mature plot, but our needs have evolved, and electrical lines are now needed in this space, so our garden will soon be undergoing a bit of an upgrade and makeover.
We're calling it the electrical expansion, and what it's meant to do is bring power to parts of the garden that currently don't have any, so that when we have an event that's out on the backside of our property, like Haunted Harvest for example, we have to run big power cables all the way to it.
We'll use this dirt moving as an opportunity to consider our best and not so great plant performers and perhaps introduce new species to our collection.
We are planning to add and kind of spruce up all of the beds in the area we call Cactus Alley, which the electrical expansion will be going right along one of the main pathways through there. And it's just a chance to add plants to the beds or remove things that are kind of underperforming or half dead. And just really I'm taking a hard look at our desert plant collections and trying to bring in stuff that we don't have for our Mojave collection, and also kind of pick out some of the showier things or things that I'm excited about that are representative of some of the other deserts.
And when all is said and done, you can count on a garden experience you've grown to expect from us.
You'll still be able to have a really similar visitor experience, just to kind of be immersed in the plant world, surrounded by greenery. You're able to look at these exotic forms that you don't see everywhere else, and we'll do our best to make sure that when the contractors are all done, that the garden looks better than it did when they got here.
We're going to keep as many areas of the garden open as possible, but even while construction is underway, we've still got plenty of garden inspiration for guests to enjoy. From food-producing plants and historically themed plantings out at Boomtown to a journey around the globe in our Deserts of the World garden. Guests can also use this opportunity to explore our natural area, trail system, and beautiful Cienega, where you'll see the best of our desert landscape on display and even some native wildlife scurrying around. If you venture out to Cottonwood Grove, you may even catch a glimpse of two of Fritz's favorite native plants.
There's one of my favorites is a perennial gourd called the buffalo gourd, which it's also called the stinking gourd. So if you rub its leaves, it's kind of like a unique combination of maybe like onions and body odor, if you're into that kind of thing. And then it makes a fruit with edible seeds, basically like a baseball-sized gourd that if you let it dry, kind of turns into a natural rattle. And they're pretty charming. And there's another gourd out there called the coyote gourd, a second perennial gourd. And the way these things survive the desert is pretty interesting. They have a massive, relatively massive, underground tuber that stores water and nutrients for the lean times. And so that's how they stay green or bluish green during the hot season.
We're always here to share our favorites, gardening tips and tricks, and answer your questions. Our gardening staff and our signage throughout property is here to guide you along the way.
We're here to answer your gardening questions, and we're here to provide an example of what you might be able to do in your own yard. We'll still offer tours of the open parts of the garden, and there's all sorts of classes and workshops that you can find out about on our website. You can take a look at some of our signage, write down the name, and look it up online and see if you think it's a good fit for you. You'll be able to find out how big it gets and sort of what its needs are too. Not only the possibility for changing the plants out in your garden, but seasonal changes, the way the foliage changes color, The way you walk into the garden one day and then the next day, all of a sudden one plant is completely in full bloom and it changes the whole look of the garden.
One thing is for certain, change brings about substantial growth.
Gardens are incredibly dynamic. It's kind of a reflection of life itself. Things are always changing, and if you're ready or willing to accept change, then things are a lot easier for you. Holding on to the past is kind of counterproductive. And it's an opportunity for everyone to see new plants.